Hello there. Thank you for being here. I'm Mercy, the Game Master here at the Monsters, and we're back with another Power Hour working stream. We missed you last week, but it was TwitchCon the weekend before was amazing, but also very draining, and we just decided to take that little bit of extra time off, and I'm glad that we did. That being said, I'm glad to be back. Thank you for being here. Krez, thank you for being first in chat. Yes, it does take a moment for the broadcast to get kind of like pushed through YouTube, and it shows up a little bit delayed even on my side, which is why usually the first couple seconds of a YouTube stream, you'll have the streamer, myself included, kind of being like, okay, there we go. Hello, Lily. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. So, what is going on with our D&D game? It has been about a month since we played, and you might recall...
YouTube stream is now live.
The YouTube stream is indeed live. Thank you. You might recall that we were talking about having more sessions during the fall here, leading up to the holidays, and that did not happen. Kind of a comedy of errors with scheduling, but those of you that play tabletop role-playing games know that's kind of how it goes. The hardest part of playing D&D is playing D&D. Scheduling is the hardest boss you'll ever fight. So we're going to kind of capitalize on that and try and turn that into hopefully a good thing. So we've been on break for about a month, and it's looking like, which, I mean, that's not that much longer than normal for us, right? We were playing every 3 to 5 weeks, but it's looking like it's going to be about another month before we have another session as well. We'll still be doing working streams. We'll still be working on character backstory videos. In fact, working on the next one is our big goal for the day today. But it's just the way that things worked out timing-wise. We ended up having a little bit of a break. But I do think that it's actually not a bad thing. I had been kind of thinking about contextualizing the story thus far as kind of a prologue, retroactively. That's something I've been kind of kicking around for a little while anyway. And so I think this really works where we are right now with this break, because, and I'll try and be as spoiler-free as possible, but all of our characters leveled up. We've developed a bit of party cohesion. We've gotten into a fairly good rhythm. We've established the setting around Capstone, and we laid a big hint for what kind of the imminent threat to Capstone is, and given the players a quest for how to interact with that. So we kind of left off just kind of accidentally at this place of, all right, we've leveled up, we've geared up, we've gotten some information, we've gotten more information teased, but we've gotten some information, we've been sent out on this quest, let's go adventuring. And so I think it's going to work pretty well to kind of like retroactively rebrand those first, whatever it was, 11 or so sessions as like a prologue. And then when we kind of get back into sessions here in about a month, to kind of like soft launch that as like the beginning of the season, so to speak. So I think it'll be good. I think it's a good opportunity for us. I think it will create kind of a good like separation of expectations. And I'm hoping that when we do that, we can also come back with, we've been talking to our players about maybe doing player cameras and some other things like that as well. So I want to take the first couple minutes of this to just kind of explain a little bit more, those of you that are invested in our game that might be wondering where that is. That's where it is. That's where it has been and where it's going. And it's not dead. It just had a little bit of an unexpected break. So like I said, we're going to try and use that break to our advantage. Hello, T-Bomb. CPO Mendez, lunchtime D&D. Yes, sir. What are we having for lunch? Karen Dyke did not win the poll. I like how you keep trying to shove this off on him. So, estimated return date. We are kind of kicking around exactly what that's going to look like. The earliest would be the 25th of November, and the latest would be the 9th of December, as far as when the live sessions will be. So, that's kind of generally the timeline that we're looking at. And we'll update you as we know more. Chicken gumbo, very nice. One of the other things that we've been talking about for a while, and I think as we package this up as a prologue, I think something that's going to make a lot of sense to do, is to do a recap video for the prologue. Now, our goal going forward is probably to do recaps for every single session that we have. So that way, if somebody wants to catch up, that's a more achievable investment for someone to make. But I think for the prologue, I mean, I don't know, maybe we'll go back and do per session videos, but realistically, we'll probably do one overarching one to cover the prologue in maybe slightly broader strokes. So be looking for that sometime in the next 3 to 6 weeks as well. And then speaking of videos, yesterday for Halloween, we played Call of Cthulhu live on stream. That was a lot of fun. We have uploaded, there is one, it was way older than I thought, actually shockingly older than I thought, but there is one Call of Cthulhu video up on our channel already. It's several years old. I'm actually going to go back and look for it. But we'll upload that one as well. We'll do some minor edits to it just to cut out stretch breaks and whatnot, and then we'll upload that session as well. And that Call of Cthulhu video should go up, I mean, really by the end of this week, I think, but there is quite a bit packed into this week. So if not this week, then no later than the end of next week. Hey, thank you, Krez. Appreciate it. Hello, Michael. Hello, Poppet. Where is that video? There it is. That was posted on November 26th of 2020. What? It is almost 3 years old, which is crazy. But if you're curious and you do want to go back and watch our attempt at the Alone Against the Flames solo scenario for Call of Cthulhu, that's the old one. And then, like I said, within the next 3 to 10 days, we'll get the new one, which was Alone Against the Tide. We will get that uploaded in the next 3 to 10 days. I believe Madi things, Michael. Hey, thanks for coming by, T-Bomb. Don't forget to thumbs up if you guys have not done so yet, and to put your chat on live chat. If you didn't have a lot going on, you'd totally... Oh, I appreciate the thought, Mendez. Who knows? Maybe eventually, right? You found a potential bug with your timer overlay, nothing major, but you think you will rewrite the actually timer part of it. It could also just be your browser being derpy. Okay. I should be able to mess with that after we're done here. There should be a small window after this and before I need to make dinner where I can do that. All right, my few minutes of news turned into almost 10, but that's okay. It had been a week or two since we'd been here, and also we had a lot of news to go over. So, Rubato's backstory. This is going to be one, a lot of the working streams, we spend some of the time like designing an item and making a graphic for it, or like laying out a building in Tailspire or whatever. This is not going to be one of those. I will do my best to, I'll definitely respond to messages, and I'll do my best to still keep talking and whatnot. But I'm going to be a little bit more deeply invested in thought and reading here, as we kind of work through some preliminary stuff with Rubato's backstory before we start filling it out and turning it into an actual script. That being said, if I remember correctly, Rubato did not use his shared folder. He made his own folder and then shared it to me. So I have to remember how to get to that. Okay. I got it. Now, actually, I don't use Google Drive a ton. No, I got it. I'm good. Thank you. Is there a way to create a shortcut within my own Google Drive? So, like, essentially just put his shared folder so it shows up in my Google Drive. I'm not easily seeing it here. Oh, wait. Add shortcut. Maybe. Because I don't care if it's mine or if it's yours. It's still going to be a little weird Do you care if Thadris has access to it? He has access to all of our D&D folder stuff because every once in a while he pipes in and helps review stuff and whatever. Thadris, the blonde-haired one that comes to our events. The short, muscular man. No. So I'm okay. I'm gonna take that as a yes. I'm adding the shortcut to my D&D folder, and he has shared access to that folder. So by my adding the shortcut, it will also grant him access. Was what I was driving at. Yours is still a little weird because I have everyone else's broken down by character sheets, player notes, backstories, etc. And then each of those folders has the individual person's stuff. But I'll make it work. No, I know it will because it popped up a window at me saying that it was going to give him access to it. Oh my gosh, Ava went through and updated her notes finally. The real question is, how many notes did Bahir, or how many sessions did Bahir do notes for? Actually not bad. Bahir has his own. What is this note, Rocket? He has notes for every session up through 8 at least. Although, okay, that's not entirely true. He has notes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8. But what is this note? Oh my god, Agfer Taver Keeper said something about Stowarm, what's it's, and making big storm happen crazy. What is happening? All right, bunny trail, but I saw it when I was going to look at Rubato's stuff. How up to date are Rubato's notes, though? 8, 9, 10, 11. Look at him. Look at him go. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, yeah. It just says Horace the Watch Captain. Still pretty good. Still pretty good. I don't necessarily expect everyone to do a full recap every time. I just wanted the resources to be there, and hopefully if most of you are doing it most of the time, then collectively as a group you should have most of the notes over time. Hey, Rocket, we were just reading through some of your session notes, and I have some questions. What can you tell us about the last couple lines of your session 8 notes? I have one guess, but I'm really curious to hear your take on that. I like that it's called Rubato's Gear and Shite. Oh yeah, we still need to actually do our reread through of Rubato's character sheet at some point too, don't we? Well, I guess now it's shared to Thadris, so we can hit him up to look it over too. He's generally good about that kind of thing. Untitled documents. Okay, so the untitled document, I get that. I'm not going to read through all those right now because we may or may not use any of those in the video, and if we do, that's probably not pertinent to what we're doing today. I owned it and shared it with you, yes. So I guess that means what we have in Rubato notes is the only thing that's actually written down. There's a handful of other things that we've kicked around about, but this is actually, if that's the case, if that section that's called prologue is the only thing that you like officially wrote down, then that means that we don't have as much reconstruction to do as I was afraid. From the way you were talking about it, I was worried that you'd written like pages somewhere along the line that I hadn't seen, and that we had like a ton of massive issues that we needed to work out. What's the document called? You're killing me, Smalls. Called Bahir Notes. Oh my gosh, Uncle Furbo. Wasn't that the one? What was that from? That was the one that was like a reference from some game I was playing or something, right? I can't think what the context was. Yeah, I feel, yeah, EQ. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. I was like, I feel like this has something to do with EQ. And I remember we laughed, like a bunch of people laughing about it. And I feel like maybe even there was a clip related to it, but I can't remember what it was now. That was drunk by here talking about what he learned about Morton at the tavern. Okay, something like that was my guess, but I was definitely very curious, especially without any context. Yeah, I can't remember what Uncle Furbo was. Well, Furbo that became Uncle Furbo. It might have also randomly been like some character in Zomboid or something. I can't remember. You're sure it was EQ? We were joking about a name. Got it. You have been, Rocket. Yes, we were talking about that too. Okay. So yeah, really there's just the one main inconsistency that we need to sort out. I'm trying to think if that's something that I can solve narratively on my end, or slash with a little bit of a DM hand wave, or if we need to poke you to rewrite just a teeny bit of that. How much longer are you here, Mendez? Slash, are you able to see Discord DMs? What was Verbo? God, that's annoying me. Well, you have to leave like now. Okay, no, that's fine. Yes, you can. Well, I don't want to be DMing you while you're on the clock. I don't want to cause any issues there. Oh, I'm on the struggle bus today. I did not sleep very much or very well last night. So, of course, today's the day that we have double streams because we have this one and then we have a short break and then we have Twitch stream. Of course, it'd be like that. Later, Mendez. Thanks for hanging out. I will. I'll write down some ideas also. Can I make a file in his folder? This is the folder shared to me. Oh, I can. Okay, good deal. So, this isn't as bad. This isn't nearly as bad as I thought. For a little bit of context, I wanted to cover as much as I could while Mendez was here because I knew he wasn't going to be able to stay super long. Somewhere along the line, we developed a little bit of a misunderstanding on what kind of the core experience of Rubato's backstory was. But we hadn't actually taken the time to sit down and look at it together until just now. It's really not nearly as bad as I thought. So this is the part where I'm mostly going to be writing down notes, but I can't obviously really say what I'm writing down because it's going to give away spoilers. How's your day going, Kale? Hey, how are you, Ken? Nailed it, Rocket. Print it, ship it, record it. Thank you so much, Lily. And I'm sure that was quite a lot to get caught up on. Thank you for that. It's all right. You're really tired. I hear you. I feel that in my bones. Ah, excuse me. What's new in the life of Ken and Foxy? How's Fox's mouth doing? It should show you Amlast, doesn't it? If it doesn't show you, I can give you the approximate timestamp. I assumed that you could see that too, but maybe not. Wow, you and I had a really similar day then, Rocket, except it was about 4:30 for me, but yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You're doing good. Going day by day though. Today was egregiously dumb. I'm sorry. Had all of it on papers. Just needed. Okay. Well, so at least you didn't still have to go back through videos and stuff. Well, thank you for doing it, Amlas. Appreciate the heck out of you. It does show. Okay, good. Yeah, it's not super apparent, but once you know to look for it, it's there. Tomorrow's a half day. Get to sit on the parent. Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting for you. Overall, well, Ken, thank you for asking. A little tired. As I was just touching on, woke up earlier than I had planned on it, earlier than I normally do by quite a few hours. So I'm definitely a little tired. And of course, it's a double stream day today, so of course that happened today. But overall, life's good. Halloween was fun. The stream last night was fun. Glad to be here. I'm excited to be kind of ripping the band-aid off finally and getting going on Rubato's backstory video. I think good things. I'm just a little low energy, is all. Tick said on one of her streams that Pretzel Rocks is getting rid of some songs on their free list. Yes. Well, and just in general seems to be down right now. I'm assuming that they're doing some database overhauling and removing and adding some stuff. Overall, I have become somewhat disenfranchised from the way that Pretzel has been operating over the course of the last 6 to 12 months. We'll see if we decide to continue using it or not. Break time. Yeah, thank you. I just need to finish this thought, and then I will get up and stretch. Lord knows I need it today. The thing that I'm trying to narratively solve. I thought I had a solution for it, but as I was sitting here picking it apart, it was like, no, all that did was create a. I essentially added more to the middle, but it doesn't actually solve the inconsistency that we were trying to solve. Okay. We'll have to tackle that when I get back from break. Then I'm not going to try and start troubleshooting that right now. So let's put 5 minutes on the clock, stretch legs, get a drink, etc. And then we'll come back and try and problem solve this a little bit more. This is the kind of thing where I don't know, maybe periodically I should just say like warning, warning, this is a spoilers one, and then that way we can get people's input. But I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like we run the risk of ruining some of the mystery for like new video projects and whatnot if we do that. Hello, Lee. I'll talk to you in a couple minutes. I'm going to get up and move around a little bit. Speaking of pretzel, as I touched on, it's down right now, so it is going to be dead air while I'm gone. Sorry. Can't really do anything about it right now. Okay. Let's see if we can problem solve this sucker. 30 minutes on the clock. Nope. Not break starts. Work ends. It's your mom's birthday, so you went out for supper, and now you're super tired. You're 5 days into your antibiotics, and you don't know if they will kill this chest infection before they're out. How many days is the run? Is it a 1 week or 2? Okay. Let's see what I can say about this without spoiling things. Well, first things first, if you're here and you haven't already done so, please don't forget to throw a like on the video. It's free and it helps us out. We appreciate it. And thank you to the people that have already done so. There is a thing that happened. What's up, Orar? With YouTube chat. You just deleted your sentence before the emoji. Oh. Weird. Yes, thank you, Lily. 10 years they run, or 10 days they run out on Monday. Interesting. I guess 10 is what I've had in the past too. It's been a while. So there is a world event that happened that is very, very indirectly, but still related to Rubato's backstory. His understanding of that event and what that event actually were not in complete agreement. So the way that his character behaved when they interfaced with some of the results of that event were not probably what they would have been if he had had proper understanding of the situation. Now, sometimes you have to retcon stuff in D&D, and that might just be what we have to do here. It wouldn't be a big deal. In fact, most of you here hearing me give this vague description probably still wouldn't even notice when we retcon it, and people who weren't here almost certainly wouldn't. But it is still an incongruity, so I want to see if we can narratively work around that before we just jump to hand waving it. Now, I think while trying to problem solve that, I came up with an idea. And I actually think I was like, I feel like I'm a little overexposed. That's because I am. It was on Pixie camera settings, which would have looked fine in black and white mode, so I wouldn't have noticed. While trying to problem solve for that, the thing that I thought was a solution that was not a solution did actually create what I think is a more interesting narrative thread. It just didn't actually solve the problem. So, so it was not wasted work. I think it is interesting, and I think I will use it. It just doesn't solve the problem. So what I'm trying to think is there any way that we can narratively solve for the lack of reaction or the lack of interaction or the lack of outcome or whatever that makes sense? Rubato's also a character that has a lot of secrets and implications and innuendos and whatnot. So I think if we do hand wave it, I don't think that's going to be too out of character for his character. That's more or less what I just said. I was just a little bit more diplomatic about it, Orar. No, it would be too obvious for that, Anola. But I appreciate where your head's at. I think that's good advice, not knowing the context. Why would we be diplomatic? Well, as more diplomatically describing the situation, but yes, fair enough. I also have to remember, see, and this is where the infrequent nature of our play is kind of biting me in the butt. But I have to remember where we've left off with this story in the current modern timeline. Like, did I give him or a thing or tell him a thing? Because that also might kind of affect it. Watch my own VODs. It wouldn't be in a VOD. Well, okay, part of it would be. Part of it would be in a VOD, part of it would be in our Discord DMs, and that's what I'm looking in the DMs right now. But also rewatching like 50 hours of content just to find literally potentially like one sentence's worth of information is going to be pretty difficult to pull off. And if it's 40 hours in and you have one lapse of attention, you might miss that one sentence. Hi, back. I am Mercy. Okay. So I found, I think, the relevant info. Or half of it. So the other thing I need to find is what I gave him in his translation of the book. Hello, Gray Fox. How you doing? Thank Windows updates, I'm sure. Okay, Rocket. Oh. Okay. So I found the answers as far as how Rubato's current life and actions during the campaign have interfaced with this thing. So again, that does not solve the root problem, but I did at least find the information as far as what have we done with this narratively in the canon story. Hello, Stardust. You're here, not doing good, but you're here. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that, Gray Fox. Thank you for making the effort to come by even when the day is hard. We're glad you're here. Okay, so I think what I need to do, I think it has to be retconned. And then I need to just write out the full narrative of the world story that is being referenced in his story. Is I think where we are. Not that I'm going to send that to him, but it's too directly intertwined to not have the details of that story hammered out. I'll catch up on chat here in just a second. I'm halfway through a thought that I don't want to lose. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to pull that out of Mendez's and put those notes into my own. And then we'll work on fleshing that out. That's what we'll do for the last 15 minutes here. I'll message Mendez a few times to kind of like shoot ideas back and forth about the backstory part of it. And then we are going to write out a quick, probably page or so, whip out the story of this world event. Okay. Gray Fox said you were trying to be a good foxy during lunch. And instead of the walk, you were doing inside exercises. Okay, we're off to a good start. During the squats, your knee gave out and you fell and hit your head on the bed frame. Oh, geez. I'm so sorry, Foxy. When we're not used to moving our bodies a whole lot, that like stage of determining what our limits is can be really hard and really really painful. I hope that there's nothing majorly wrong. I'm really sorry that happened. Maybe I'm just quieter than normal. I shouldn't be. Yeah, I haven't changed anything here. But big hugs, Gray Fox. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's a whole nother level of difficulty onto what I was talking about. For sure. Well, no music, yes, but he's saying that the volume is quieter. You wait, hold on. You're icing your head and your knee, and you survived work, so there's that. Now more rest time. You got us up. Well, I mean, for whatever it's worth, I'm glad that it wasn't worse. Right? You could have gone unconscious, or you could be saying that you're having neck pain or that sort of thing. So I'm glad that none of that is true. But I'm so sorry that you're in pain. Focus on the story. Oh yeah, for sure. You're gonna pop out and try to get a few more hours of sleep before it hits midnight. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for coming by, Lee. Get a good rest, or I hope you can get some rest. We'll catch you soon. Awesome, MLAS. I just saw what you sent me. I will submit that to Pretzel. I'm gonna write it down right now so I don't forget. I'll probably not get that done until tomorrow, but I'll submit that to Pretzel. Write that down now before I forget. That's good, Gray Fox. I'm glad. So I feel like my one thing I've got my Cliff's notes for my new thoughts on this written down, but I need to do a little bit more of a deep dive and make sure that I haven't already started this project, because that's also possible. Let's get into my world building folder and poke around a little bit here. I do have a document called Basics of the World, but this is probably more specific than that. So this is just the Basics of the World is a very general sheet. Document here called DM Notes. Honestly, this is kind of more just Basics of the World Part 2. Some of these are very, very old files. Society names. I forgot this existed. I kind of remember looking for it when we were writing Bahir's backstory, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't remember what it was called. So there was an old name for the kingdom that that Bahir hails from, and I just found it. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that name to use for something else and update that, because we changed it. And since nobody in canon had ever interfaced with it before, that doesn't matter. That's easy to change after the fact. I need to reverse translate this, though. I need Google Translate. Why does it default to Irish to English? What? This is funny. That's not at all what I was looking for, but we have done that now. Oh, you know what we could do? We could have an endonym and an exonym. Don't Google it. Who knows what that means? So it could be both. Endonym and exonym. Yeah, you're right in the strictest sense, or are, but it does have a little bit more of a functional meaning. The name for what it's called within it and without it. Essentially, yes. So it's just like we call Germany Germany, right? But Germans don't call Germany Germany. They call it Deutschland. So Germany is an exonym. It is the name that people from outside of that place and that people have given it. And Deutschland is its endonym. You love learning new words? Heck yeah. As you know, I'm a word nerd, so I love stuff like that. I'm gonna figure out how I want to communicate this though. That kind of stuff is great for here's another word for verisimilitude. Who knows that word without looking it up? MLS says, not me. Fair. That feels like a Google. Really? Oh God, what did I just do? Okay. I ended it. That was terrifying. You'd hope Google would have better grammar. Well, we'd hope that ChatGPT wouldn't be confidently incorrect all the time too. Yeah, no, good on you, Gray Fox. You fixed what? Oh, the sound. Yeah, I actually don't. That's a word I don't know or are on the calendar. But yeah, verisimilitude is essentially how realistic a story or a setting or that type of thing is. So like like how well a movie pulls you into its reality often depends on how well, unless it's something like clearly a fantasy movie or whatever, but like a drama or something like that is going to lean really heavily into verisimilitudes. They want period clothing and the correct accents, and they want to use the right currencies and the right food and like whatever. All of those things lend to the verisimilitude, to the trueness, to the lifelikeness of the setting of the story. And generally speaking, endonyms and exonyms are super common. So that's actually kind of a fun way to reuse what I had already written and potentially add a little bit of verisimilitude as well. All right. This ended up being way more off rails than we've been recently on the working streams, but it's okay. It's part of the reason I've been putting this off, because I knew that this was going to kind of be this way. But now that we have a nice long break between our sessions and whatnot, now's the perfect time to finally sort some of this out. I'm afraid I don't know Avatar, Gray Fox. I'm assuming you're talking about the anime. A proleptic calendar is when you extend a calendar before it existed, usually Gregorian or Julian, and you mostly run into astronomy, apparently. So you're talking about, because like, you know, I don't remember the dates, but like the Julian calendar, you know, started in the year, or that's a bad example because that's obvious. But yeah, whatever. So like when you extend the Julian calendar back to the year 2500, when you're talking about ancient Egypt, like that sort of thing. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if Pixie would know it, being a history nerd. Okay, we've solved a few little world building things. Basic history of the war. Now, which war? Which time period? I don't know. Just leave that as a little teaser, but that's a different kind of like what I need to do for the event that I am now dancing around talking about. I need to write a file like that for this other world event. Okay, now here's another thing. This is another thing that we need to fix. Is I have expanded deity info, and then I also have a separate document on the archangels of Banah, which, oh dear God, why did that paste like that? Are separate things, but also obviously are very heavily intertwined. Also, and this is a thing I can talk about without being spoilery, but if you've never been here when we've talked about the structure of the Church of Banah before, technically that church follows a monotheistic belief system, but they also have a pantheon of angels of varying degrees of power that represent different aspects of Banah's power and influence. They are venerated on their own right. So they were not originally included in my document called Expanded Deity Info because they are not deities. They do have divine power, but they are not deities. But now looking at it with fresh eyes, I feel like they should be referenced there as well because they are still part of kind of that whole system. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes and no. They're also just in a file that's literally called the Archangels of Banah. So if I was just searching, I would probably just find that also. But I think just having it cross-referenced here. Actually, you know what? Speaking of cross-referencing, let's make it a link. So what I really want to do, I think the way long-term that we grow this world and that we make it more useful in a digital space and whatnot is we set up a wiki. But I actually think that there needs to be two wikis. I think there needs to be like a private wiki for me and a public one. I don't know if private wikis are a thing, but something like that. Private wikis can be a thing, but you're pretty sure you can't have them as one unit, at least with MediaWiki. What do you mean as one unit? Oh, you mean like I couldn't have the two things be connected? Like the private one and the public one? That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Now, Google Drive has gotten better about it. In the way that you can reference and link things. In fact, they've actually, just since the last time I linked a document within a document, they've done it even better. It offers to replace the hyperlink with the name of the file and make that a hyperlink. So it's actually even better now than it used to be. So what I did is I added a section under Banah called the Heavenly Host, and then I said more info at Archangels of Banah, and then I put just their order and their name in this file. And then the other one, the Archangels of Banah, has more info. Not a lot more, honestly. There's still plenty more that could be fleshed out. That's the type of thing where you can go down that rabbit hole and spend all day just like designing the worship systems for the heavenly host of the church and whatever, but like the reality of any of that stuff being actually useful is really slim. So if it's fun for me and I want to put the time into it, like obviously great. But especially since we make content around this game, I try to focus the limited amount of time that I can put into it on things that are more likely to be actionable and interactable. So what we have for each one is their name, their aspect, their pronoun, their alignment, their iconography, and their heraldry, which I feel like is pretty good. That's enough to deal with most things where somebody might potentially encounter something to do with them. And also having their kind of like their domain and their alignment, that also allows you to kind of like on the fly, fill in some more stuff if you need to, like if you do need more info. And that's kind of how I try to structure my designing when I'm doing stuff like that, is to give enough to be useful to surface value and then to set me up for success to extrapolate if I need to. As a preparer, that is. When I wasn't streaming, I was almost completely a improvisational DM, and that's actually my preferred style. But there's just enough more going on in the on-stream game to where that just doesn't feel... For one, I'm just not as practiced or as good of a DM as I was in that phase when I was DMing every week all the time. But for 2, like I'm watching chat, I'm watching to see if Pixie's got camera angles where we want them. You know, like there's enough else going on splitting my attention that doing more prep than I used to do just feels better. Frankly, for lack of a better word. Okay, so yeah, this one was interesting. I did a lot of work on the back end here that like tied up a lot of loose ends, clarified some stuff, cross-linked some things that needed to be done. And all of that is going to lead towards the game running better. And also it is still going to play into Robato's backstory. It's just, you know, I can't like dust off my hands and be like, all right, the first half of the backstory script is written. We're not quite to that point yet, and that's okay. Like I said, I knew that this was going to be messy. We're probably going to have at least one more session where I need to do some of this kind of stuff, and I'll try and work on it off stream a little bit too. And that's why I've been avoiding doing this, is because of I feel like there is an expectation which is completely self-imposed, but that these streams, despite the fact that their whole purpose is to be like focused, productive work, I can't help but feel like I need to make them at least a little bit performative. So I want to be like, oh, let's make an item that you guys can see and whatever. And like that stuff's great too. But like there's a part of me that's been avoiding doing this because like I feel bad for like not like putting on a show, you know, whatever. It's totally on me. Like nobody has said or done anything to make me feel that way about it. It's just me being in my own head about it. But we got a lot of stuff done today, I promise. So the last thing I want to do before we go is poke around here and just make sure, because that thing about the deities and whatnot, that really should be in the public folder, and I don't remember if it is. It's not. Why isn't it? There's nothing there that's secret info, I don't think. Don't forget to get your tickets for the $25 draw. Yes, that's a good point. Thank you. You have about 2.5 more hours to enter your tickets for the $25 community appreciation raffle event, which will be taking place at about 6:15 Pacific. We're still Pacific Daylight Time today. So make sure you go to the Discord or go to the Twitch chat and get that done. It does not work here, unfortunately. That would be cool. Yeah, let's do that really quickly. Let's go to world building here. I'm not going to put the expanded deity info in there just yet because some of the rest of that could be filled out a little bit more. So I'm not going to put that in the public folder yet, but I do think the Archangels of Banah makes a lot of sense to have. Oh boy. How do I do this? Oh, there we go. Makes a lot of sense to have in the publicly available Google Drive folder. I don't know if literally anyone has ever gone and actually looked at the public folder. But it's the type of thing that I know that people that like D&D in general really like. So even if nobody has yet, eventually somebody's mind is going to be blown that they can go and do a lore deep dive on, you know, this or that or whatever. Yeah, thank you, Krez. We're going. I just I didn't want to leave off without doing that. But thank you for looking out. You did a long time ago. Oh, did you really? That's cool. admittedly, there's not a ton in there, and that's you know, I definitely err on the side of not oversharing for the sake of not wanting to spoil things. But over time, there have been a handful of things that have been added and tweaked. What is that? Okay, I don't know what that is. Somehow one of the maps that's in the public folder got translated into a Word document. And so the image was gone and it just tried to translate the text into No worries. We're taking off too. Thank you so much for being here, Ken. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna write this down so we can do this. And this is my last thought for the day. Let's make one of these DM working streams be about populating the public Google Drive a little bit more. I think that's not going to be able to be done until after we finish resolving some of this world building stuff that we were just talking about. But I think that could be good. I'm going to write that down, and then we're going to go. This time. All right. Cool. It's hard for me. It's really hard for me not feeling like I've produced something or put on a show. Why do you brain like you brain? Thank you guys for being here, though. Actually having you here and chatting with me and engaging with the thought process and whatnot actually really does help reduce that pressure that I'm totally putting on myself. Like I said, nobody else feel bad about that. So thank you. I'm gonna hop off here. I need to really quickly test the timer that Krez set up for us for Hardcore Herald. Also, remember Hardcore Herald returns tomorrow in about 22 hours. And then we will be back in a couple hours here on Twitch with some P99. Yes, Harold is back. I'm excited. I've really been missing doing that. I really like that. So thank you all so much. If you haven't done so yet, one more reminder to thumbs up the video. Also, if you missed the Call of Cthulhu session yesterday, that video will be going up sometime in the next 3 to 10 days. So if you haven't watched it yet, if you would, hold off on watching it on Twitch so we can get the view time on YouTube instead. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day if we don't see you tonight. And as always, take care and be excellent to each other.